I'm back!
Hey!
Oh,
Slacking.
right, let me get my feed. I can't see what's going on. There we go.
Can you see us all now, Chandler?
Yeah,
Do you need to turn the tape over?
yeah. When it gets to the end. No, I've got one of those auto. My Walkman had auto reverse.
Oh, was it servo controlled? Was it? Could it find the tracks?
No. You could get cassettes
Wait,
that found the tracks.
Yeah.
Wait, you turned it over. I just bought a new one when it got to the end.
It's like my dad. I think we bought my mum a digital camera or something one Christmas. And he said, "Well, how many megapixels is it?" It was something like 20 megapixels. He says, "Straight face. What do we do when we run out?"
Amazing.
Welcome to technology, my friends.
Oh yes. Yeah,
How
I
are
had a
we all?
Walkman.
We all good?
Yeah.
Splendid.
Maybe I should rewind. Good evening, welcome to Vape Talk UK, episode 167. This week's we will be talking about pods, salts, and we've got to talk about squonking because we have a special guest with us this evening. Say good evening to Mr. Blythe from the YouTube's internet fame sensation of the Ideal Home Show. Say good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening. Thanks very much for having us on. I am delighted to be here. I'll try my very best to be informative and educational for all your VT UK fan type people.
You'll be the only one.
I've just spotted your T-shirt, James.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome!
Sponsored by Jeffrey's Vintage Vape. I have range of beer, yes.
Yet another person who's got loads of Jeffrey stuff, and not me.
I haven't got a Jeffrey's Vintage Vape T-shirt neither, so you know.
Gutted.
Right. Chandler, did you ask for one?
I didn't know you had one until Jimmy suddenly. You had them until Jimmy suddenly appeared and go, "Look what I've got."
James, did you ask for one?
I certainly did.
There we go. That's where.
Yeah, so Mark, can I
was
say
like-
a Jeffrey's Vintage
I was
Vape
like,
T-shirt?
I don't want to be cheeky, but can I be cheeky? And I just asked him. He's a lovely chap. He's a lovely chap.
Yeah.
Asking, giveth. The Lord wrote.
Next time I'll ask him, Mark, can I have a Jeffrey's Vintage Vape T-shirt, please?
I'll put you on the list. If anyone would rather if anyone would rather have a hoodie, you might want to wait a couple of weeks.
I'm gonna wait. I'll wait a couple of weeks. It's fine.
I did get the I was given the hoodie option, but my wife likes the heat known far too much for me to possibly wear a hoodie of a Tuesday or a Thursday night.
Have you got snapbacks, though? That's the real question.
What do you want them for?
I think that's good. Well, I don't know a single snapback.
It's
No, but are there Jeffrey's Vintage Vape snapbacks? This is the real question.
No, it's not our thing, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Snapbacks? No.
No.
There's only one person here wearing a snapback.
Hey, I've usually got one on, to be fair.
Yeah,
To be
you
fair,
do.
usually have. Yeah.
Hence my really.
It's not what our brand desires necessarily. It's not the. Yeah, we're going for sou'westers and things like that. So maybe we'll do Jeffrey's vintage.
Deerstalker.
Deerstalker bowler.
Deerstalker.
That'd be nice.
Bowler
I'd like
hat.
a
No.
Jeffrey-
I like the Jeffrey's vintage bowler hat. That would be awesome.
It'd go well with your waistcoats.
It would go well with my waistcoat. Bowler hat. Yeah, if you do it. Yeah. If you do a Jeffrey's vintage vape bowler hat, I'll wear it at an event. There you go.
Amazing. There we go.
Sorted. There we go then. Cass, I know you've got a new pickup this week, so what you're vaping on, let's do it iOS style. What you're vaping on, what you're drinking, and how many animals have you killed this week?
So I am vaping on. We'll start with that one. My latest pickup this week is the I've just forgotten the name of it, the Berserker MTL. I literally bought it today because where I work had it on offer, so I thought, sod it, I'll get one. Unfortunately, we didn't have the black one, so I went for gold because I refuse to have anything that's rainbow. because that is a curse on the vape industry, and whoever invented it needs to throw themselves off a cliff. But I love it. I'm actually vaping 12 milligram Vampire Vape Heisenberg in here at the moment because that's what I had to hand, and it worked really well. And it's what's it? 7 wraps, 26 gauge stainless, comes out about 0.5 dead, and it's perfect, absolutely perfect. So I've got it on my little Vupu drag. What else am I vaping? I am a complete Vulcan fanboy once again. So Vulcan 1 Mech Alpha RDA, and this time I've even got the Hakucho in it. So
ooh, nice.
Yeah, that I picked that. That's been steeping since Fest, so it's going well. It's almost gone. Other than that, if I'd have known, see, this is how prepared we are. I had no idea we were going to be talking about squonking tonight, so I would have actually set up the only squonker I own. But it's sat empty, unused.
You've got one squonker.
Yeah, I'm not made of money.
One?
They don't have to be expensive.
No.
Tell me a good one that's really, really cheap.
The Vandy Vape 80 watt is not bad for the money. Pick them up for the one that the Asmodus isn't too bad either. Do you want regulated or unregulated?
I'm not bothered, to be honest. I mean, I love my Luna.
Yeah, the Luna's not bad at all.
I mean, I think I paid 70 for that, and that had been used for a week before I picked it up. So
you should be on UK Squonkers Classifieds.
That is the best place. No, seriously,
that is crackers. You can get all sorts for less than a ton. You can get 300 or 400 quid worth of mod at the minute. It's crackers.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, see, I told you how out of touch with the entire world I am right now.
He has a week off in Spain, and he comes back speaking
Spanish.
Spanish. No, I was going to go for something else, but languages just completely disappeared out of my head at that point.
Swahili.
Swahili. There you go, Swahili.
Mandarin.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm vaping. What am I drinking? Well, I was drinking Dr. Pepper, but I drank it because I don't drink. So I just drink soft drinks, which is fine by me. And how many animals? I haven't killed any animals this week.
None.
None.
No.
Not a single one.
Just disgraceful. Not even a fly.
No, I even saved a spider this morning.
Oh.
So there we go.
Not
and
in
a
my
bee.
house. I've got a 3-year-old that's petrified, a 35-year-old that's just as petrified.
Of what?
Spiders.
I'll kill him if I have to.
She'll kill him if she has to.
Spiders are like your little anti-fly guards of the house. They're amazing.
Babe!
Don't even give me that shit. You're crap at a spider catcher.
And he's gone. So let's
Okay.
pass over to Chandler then.
Okay, you will. What am I vaping on?
What you vaping on?
Right. Okay. If you listen to the podcast, it hasn't changed since. Well, not much anyway. So I've got the Mike Dacus squonky thing with the Solix on the top and the mouth to lung RDA on the top. And after the podcast, James, I've ordered I didn't realise, but they actually have a 1mm drilled cassette that you can put in.
Super.
So I've ordered the 1mm, and if that's still too tight, I'll drill it out a bit because apparently that one's 1.5mm, and it's just a little bit too loose for me. So, and the 0.8 that comes with it is like, so yeah,
Crazy.
I've ordered the 1mm cassette to try it, see if that's any better. And more squonky goodness. So the VVRN. This is what I did. This is what I did, Kaz, with the squonky. I couldn't afford one, so I printed my own.
Nice. I like that.
So yeah, the VVRM, and I got the Entheon on top, and that drip tip actually was on my Squape. But doesn't it look right on there?
Kind of does. There's a lot of steps going on there.
Kind of looks like it's supposed to be on there.
It doesn't look long enough for you, Chandler.
It is not long enough for me. This is the problem. I found a drip tip that actually looks vaguely okay.
Sensible.
Have you still got
I
that
think.
crazy setup you put on Facebook?
Which one? The that one.
Yeah.
That is it's awesome. Yeah. That's my squape with an extension tank on the top, and I am so tempted to buy another extension tank because you can just stack them. They just go on top of each other, so you can end up with 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep going. So
I'm guessing with the
notoriously enormous squib, and you've got an extension tank on there, bro.
It's awesome, isn't it? Doesn't that look great?
Yeah. I mean, some people might say you possibly, you kind of making up for other things in that area of the size, but I wouldn't possibly say that you're compensating. That's not a compensatory scrape there, is it?
No, definitely.
I mean, I wasn't saying that, but I'm just putting that out there.
No, because obviously you're going from that to the Salix, the teeny tiny little thing. I mean, obviously that's more me. This is what I use most of the time, so obviously,
I think you're getting a nice equilibrium there, Chandler. Nice equilibrium.
Yep. Yeah. I don't want to brag. It's not about just right. Is what you want, really, isn't it? So yeah, and my other, which is currently in bits. I was trying to get this built before the show, so I have got the intake RTA there. There you go, all in bits.
So I'm guessing you didn't manage to build it before the show, then.
I didn't manage to build it before the show, and the reason being, why is it stock coils? For some reason, all the stock coils I've got are wound anti-clockwise.
So they don't fit properly.
And all the RDAs that I've got, so this one, it's the wrong way bloody round. You have to put
here's an idea for you. Why don't you turn it over?
It doesn't work.
Oh,
you turn
okay.
it over, and you've suddenly got the leads, to get it to fit, the leads are on the top of the coil, and you need them to come out of the bottom.
So just add half a wrap.
No, still won't work.
Still the wrong way round.
Still the wrong way round. You have to undo it and wrap it round the other way. You have to wrap it clockwise because that has been wrapped
You have to wrap it overhand, don't you?
Yeah.
I think you should stop buying Chinese crap then.
Where did that come
Savage
from?
burn.
I just wanted to try this because this is is this going to focus? You're never going to see that, are you, on my camera? Basically, that is 2 Claptons twisted together.
So twisted Clapton.
That's the one. Yeah, it's a twisted Clapton, and I just haven't tried a twisted Clapton before, so I thought I'd give it a go. And I've been told it's a bit of a beast. So yeah, so with my regulated, mod-defined Draco, which I've just stuck the Serpent MMM on top because it was sat on my desk. I wanted the intake on top, but hey, yeah. So there you go. I'm really liking this in a really kind of masochistic-y, bizarre way because it's a little bit mainstream for me. But
Just a tad.
I don't like it.
Don't you like it?
I don't like it.
I like it. Yeah, I want that one. Yeah.
It's got a lovely big screen on it though. Because is that a dual battery as well, Chandler?
Yeah. Dual
He's going
battery.
to turn up with a smock mag next week.
There's it's very slim. That screen. It's very slim. I think that's all right. It's a lot of screen for your money.
I've got
Flip.
loads of screen.
Give me a side profile.
A side profile. It's got that. It's got that G10 stuff on it. Hang on, focus. There we go. I can't tell whether that's just my pokey internet or whether it's focusing, but that's. I'd never heard of G10 before. Apparently, they use it for knife handles and things like that. It's a composite fiberglassy type thing, but they make it in some weird way that makes it absolutely amazing, and they called it G10. I don't know whether it has a summit or something, but but yeah, it's actually quite nice. It's quite nice to hold. It's nice and big. It's made of metal. It's heavy. I like a nice, big, heavy, substantial mod. So I'm really pleased with it.
Buy a drag if you want a heavy, substantial mod.
I really rate the drag. I think the chipset, everything about it is just incredible.
I was using this on a temp control with stainless steel in it, and actually really good. It's still got the same hot vape.
Temp control. Isn't that fad? The
temp control.
Yeah.
You mean there's people that actually still do temp control?
Tell you what, next week I will turn up with an NI 200 build in it and tell you how amazing it is.
Okay.
Nickel.
Cool. I always used stainless steel when I was doing the temp control thing.
Yeah, you need 32 wraps to get it above 0.1.
Depending what gauge, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, nickel doesn't come in anything less than about 32 gauge, does it?
I haven't bought NI 200 in an age and a half, so I haven't actually got any.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. Have you ever done temp control, James?
Yes, well, not recently, but when DNA 40s first came out, I had a DNA 40 and I dipped my toe in it, and I found it incredibly frustrating. I know it's much better now. It's much better now. But to be honest with you, as a squonker, I don't think it's really necessary. I use teeny tiny atties and I squonk all the time, and pressing the fire button is almost as second nature as pressing the little squonky hole. So, and I think you can tell when a wick's getting a little bit dry anyway. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. I like the idea behind it. I really like the idea behind it. Seems like a bit of a fun.
I'm just thinking. Temp control in a squonker.
Well, you've got
the latest.
I was going to say that hadn't crossed my mind, but obviously, if it's got a DNA board in it, it's got temp control, hasn't it?
Oh, of course, and loads of them. I mean, the latest e-cigs, I think it is. It's got temp control and it's got auto squonk. So you don't have to do nothing. You don't have to do nothing.
Auto squonk.
Auto squonk, yeah. I mean, this mod here, it hasn't got auto squonk, but the board itself, the Owless board, it's got an auto squonk feature where when if it's in temp control and auto squonk mode, and if it recognises your coil's getting dry, it would fire a mechanism. There's a place on the board to fire a mechanism to squonk for you. How lazy do we need to be as vapers, for God's sake?
It's witchcraft.
God, actually, that is complete genius. So you have a squonk bottle hidden inside your mod. You put it in temp control, it squonks by itself.
Yeah, but does it tell you when you've run out of juice? This is the question.
Well, the temp control will kick in at that point, I presume, and go, no, nothing. You get nothing now.
Yeah. Let me clarify. I'm now at 2.8 volts. I'm now in voltage mode. So, I wasn't that impressed by temp mode.
2.8 volts. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that it can't be too hard to put like a fuel gauge inside a tiny little squonk bottle.
So or just like a tiny little balance.
Yeah. You could have a little like fuel gauge on your display on the outside. You don't need a window to actually look inside it to see it. You've got to have it on the board, displaying how much juice or fuel you've got left in your new squonk bottle. That would be.
As Badger just said, why? Just buy a tank.
Squonk shut down in 4 words.
You could get like 9, 10. You could have a 10 mil squonk bottle.
No, you
this
can't.
one's 15 mil.
Why don't you just buy a Steam Crave Titan and have 30 mil?
Is that a tank?
I'm not.
We were talking about it last week.
Yeah, that Mahusive tank, isn't it? Yeah. The one on the Hammer of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah, so
James, what are you vaping on?
But I'll come for that. But James, what are you vaping on?
Okay, I have several things. There's genuine I'm vaping on. I always have a couple of things on the go at the same time. I swap my flavors around. I've got some got a new little thing that came in today. So I am vaping on. This is the Infinity Mods IM356. I don't think you can see that there. Yeah, that's just the one I was talking about with the auto squonk feature. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't auto squonk, but it's on the board. That's the Owless XL board in there. On top of there, I have a Viper V2 from Hellfire, and on the top of there, I have got a hybrid whistle tip, a mini whistle tip, and in there is my usual pretty much all day, which is Tobacco Crunch from Concentrate from Chef's Vapers. I vape that a lot. I vape it a lot. It's kind of always with us, always on the go. That's my first one. Next is my new thing. It's just landed today. I have got, this is an Otis 16 millimeter OATI essentially, which just arrived today. I got that on a trade earlier on the weekend, and it came today. See, I've got it almost completely shut off there, and that is on a KO from Chris Scott McKenzie, Chris Scott Mods, and again a whistle on the top, and on. Let's pop that down a little bit more, and in there is. What is in there? What is in there? Oh, it's cream soda. Cream soda from the fabulous Jeffrey's Vintage Vape, which I'm enjoying tremendously. It's
Plug.
Yeah, it's dead sweet, but I really like it. It's quite lemony. I really it gives me more of a lemony cakey sort of thing, but it's incredibly tasty. So there's that, and I've got a couple more on the go. Sorry, I've got so many bits and bobs on the go. Another Jeffrey's Vintage Vape. Plug the idea long show there. This is on a SVA Slim. Again, another Viper on top, another whistle on top of there, and in there is Dandelion and Burdock, which is probably my favourite juice today at the minute, and I haven't put it down, and I'm about a third of the way down my first bottle already. Another one in standby though. And then the last thing I'm vaping on is, this is a Shadow from Hellfire with a Viper X on the top, which is like a 16 millimeter version of the Viper, and on there is a Black Delaran a barrel tip, and in there is Spectrum Vaping Custard Cream, and that is what I am vaping on today. I am drinking a nice tasty beer. Ta-da! Please join us in drinking beer. You, Mark, open a can immediately. I'm drinking by myself here like some sort of...
I'm in. And I've got a bottle of red on standby.
Excellent.
Bottle of red on standby. Whoa!
Rick and Morty Bagger from Aldi. Quite like them. German cheap beers. And I haven't killed any animals today. However, there is a spider the size of a tennis ball in my garden that it's been blown a gale. He's been there all week. I've been keeping an eye on him. It's been blown a gale here today. And so I checked on him, and he wasn't there. So now I'm absolutely terrified that he's in the house, because his abdomen, I swear to God, not a tennis ball, but certainly maybe it's a ping pong ball or a golf ball. He is, or she is absolutely enormous. One of them spiky legged ones. Oh, I don't like to kill spiders. Because, as we were saying earlier, they keep the flies. They eat the flies, don't they? Eat the flies.
Yeah.
This one is terrifying looking, all spiky and enormous, and I wish I'd have got it earlier, or at least just shoot it away. Can you shoo them away? You can probably shoo them away, can't you?
Yeah, of course
shoo,
you can.
Spider, shoo.
Go away, spider. Go away. Yeah, they tend to kind of look at you and go,
flies. There's flies over there. Go. So I've not killed any animals at all this week. That's what I'm vaping on. That's what I'm drinking on, and that's my general gist. What about you, Mark? What about you?
You've just reminded me that I've lost my OATI. I've got the OATI. I've got and I'm pretty sure I've got the slam cap for it. And I remember putting them in their little black pouches and putting them somewhere safe. And I cannot.
And you can't
find
remember
them.
where it is.
Cannot find them for shit. But I really fancies them. I really fancy them for the mouth alone, and I cannot find it. It anywhere.
This is my first order. So I know they've got a couple of versions of the UARTI out, and I kind of boycotted them for a bit, because I always thought the UARTI was very similar to the Nada, and then they brought out the whistle tips that were very similar to Hellfires, but I've kind of forgiven them and gone soft in the last few months. and hence is picking up that. I've been looking at one page. I don't really vape many 22 millimeter atomizers. teeny tiny. I think that's right, because I'm a squonker, and I think there's no way you could use these atomizers any other way other than squonking, because they are so small. It would be just so impractical to try and drip with them. And I just the little flavour machines. So I got the Addy through today, and it is surprisingly good. Like I say, I've got it shut down to almost nothing. This one here is a UKS version, which came from a member of UKS, because it was kind of sort of semi-developed. A few test versions went out, a few betas went out, a few protos, a few betas went out to a few members of UKS, and they kind of give some feedback, and they did some little changes, and it's damn good at it. It's really, really good at it. I'm really loving it. Tiny deck.
I want the Ogeny, the Ogeny V2, the RDTA, the one that squonking RDTA. Yeah. I'd love to try one of those.
You see, I've got a Jenny sat on the shelf, ready to
go.
I got my Haku.
Oh,
see, you boys are squonkers. You boys are squonkers. Look at that. You've got Norbert, we've got Haku down there.
I've also got Hadley lying around somewhere as well.
How can you just have a Hadley just lying around?
Yeah, well, it's in one of them little black bags somewhere really safe.
Yeah, I love a black bag. I know it's a tiny little thing. You put something in a velvety pouch. I'm like, no, I am interested. Actually, I wasn't interested before, but black velvety pouch, I am interested.
Yeah. Oh,
I almost bought the squonk pin for the Petrie V2, and then I saw it was like $18, and then they wanted like $30 shipping from France. For some reason, it was in dollars, even though they're French and it should have been in euros. And then I realised that actually you need a master's in engineering just to get the sodding deck out to put this squonk pin in, because they give you a whole new deck. It's got like 5,000 Allen keys. I was just like, nah, I'll leave it. I'll just find something else.
I don't blame you one bit.
But I love the packaging a lot of those come in with. It's like that weird square box which like vibrates as you open it and close it.
Yeah, I like that. Squiff comes in that. Eden mod stuff now comes in that. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
they can be tubes. Oh, awesome.
So, my new pickup. I know I mentioned this last week, but I kind of had a manic week last week. Yeah, absolutely nuts week last week, hence why I sort of dropped in and dropped out. But I mentioned this, let me full size myself. I mentioned this last week. It was my new pickup. And you know what? I am sorry. The Lost Vape Origin.
Orion.
Did I say Origin? I got Origin in my head.
We got Jerry's and all sorts going on. Yeah.
And you know what? I am very impressed. Look at the size of it in my hand. It's tiny. It's tiny.
I must admit you've got bare paws, but even so, it is titchy.
Does it have the same problems as the Zeltu does, in that after 3 puffs, everything tastes burnt?
Nope.
Oh, no. Is that an issue with the Zeltu?
Yeah, my mate of mine's got one, and he's like, chug, 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 chug. Oh, well, that's burnt. And then he'll go back to it. He's like, chug, chug, chug. Oh, no, it's burnt again.
Right, I have got this. God. I've got the 0.5 pod in here. I'm running I think it's a 60/40 PG high. 12 milligram. Well, you know what I'm vaping. 12 milligram mint from V4. And I've got it on the highest setting. For those of you that don't know how it works, it knows what coil you've got in, and you can specify 3 different low, medium and high setting on each set of coils. But obviously you can plug it into your computer and change what each of those buttons does and what temperature it hits at. So with this, what are you saying, 3 puffs? So and I didn't release the button on that.
Nice. Yeah, that's banging.
Honestly, I cannot fault it. The quality of the machinery, of the machine work, is good. It's good. There's a little dit on the panel on the front, just a tiny dip. nice bit of mother of pearl or whatever they call it. Change the pod. Nice and simple. Pull down. Lighting's not very good, but literally you pull down on the catch there. Pod comes away. Back in. Put it on.
So it's a coil jobby rather than replace the whole pod.
Yeah. No. You replace the pod.
Okay.
You replace the pod, but I'm on, I don't know, 10, 11 pods through. Still tastes as fresh as it did.
It's good going.
Really, really happy with it. And just before the show, obviously this is a 60-40 PG high, mouth to lung. I've literally closed... No, sweetheart, love you.
Love you too.
That was Darcy, not Lindsay.
Okay. Tracy.
Tracy, sorry. I've literally closed off the airflow completely. The airflow is closed. You know I like a nice tight pull.
Oh yeah.
That's the 0.5. But just before the show, I did fill up the point. I think the 0.25 with a high VG. It's been sat there wicking away for the past, half an hour. So I'm going to give that a try on direct to lung. Mouth to lung, incredible. I've not got a bad word to say about it. Direct to lung, I've not tried yet. 0.25.
Does it do that?
Yeah. It does. So let me slide her in.
That's what she said.
Oh, yes.
Air wide open.
Again.
That's what she said.
I had to ruin any serious conversation.
Oh.
That was the lowest setting. Let's go for the medium setting.
What's it like with salts in it?
Not tried it.
Fair enough.
That's medium setting and the high setting. Let's have a go. It's wicking quite well, to be fair. That's it. On the high setting, on the high VG.
That's the one.
It's struggling.
No, it's not at all.
No?
See, how would you rate this Berserker for high VG stuff? Because I am intrigued.
Never tried it. Never tried it. I'm a mouth to lung guy. I don't.
Can you actually get the Berserker to do any direct lung, or is it purely? I thought that it was.
No, I mean,
I thought it was a very loose direct lung. Very.
You see that
tight.
little hole here, just where my finger is?
Yeah.
That's the only airflow hole.
What? No.
One airflow hole. That is the only one, and that is the biggest one. There are smaller than that.
Oh,
yeah, like you've got.
Yeah.
You've got options.
It goes ridiculously tiny.
Yeah, I mean the smallest one is probably it's 0.1 of a 0.1 of a mil, I think.
That seems very, very small.
0.1 of a mil?
I think that's what it said. I think that's what it said on the thing.
I've got a box here somewhere.
Boxes in my bag. But on top of that, you've got this weird little thing in the chimney that actually narrows the chimney that you can take out or put back in. So you get a much narrower chimney. Now, I reckon if I put it on the biggest and took that out, I might get more of a... Did he just said drill it out to 8 mil? There is an 8 mil of tank here. I've got this little chimney in it, and I'd like to see what it's like without, but you still wouldn't get even a restricted direct lung.
You know what? This is wicked really, really well on a 70-30. I can see the air bubbles
coming through.
You know what? And I'd like to say it was a restricted... I know I've heard people say it's a restricted direct to lung. I don't think it's not restricted.
No, this is what I was looking for in the Berserker, because I've got loads of little pen devices and little pod devices that are restricted direct lung or just about a mouth to lung, but I wanted a big tank that I could build that had that real resistance that you want from a mouth to lung.
Yeah.
You want to really be pulling on it to be able to get that resistance to make it a good mouth to lung to get that heat build up. And the crackle on it is so satisfying.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
crackle is satisfying. Also, I am using, what am I using? The SQ with a Haku and I think it's a Mun's cap on there. Yeah, Mun's
Nice.
cap. Yeah.
You can get big builds in the Haku.
You know I love the Haku. I love
Yeah,
the Haku. Yeah. For me, I don't build any more than sort of 0.4 on a squonker. 0.4 is about my limit. I don't tend to go any lower than 0.4.
I think the one that I've got in my hack is about 0.24, but then I don't like getting too close to the 0.15 cutoff on the Luna, because if the batteries start to get low, it tends to freak out a little bit, and then it just goes, nope, not going to work. If you get too close to the resistance, it goes, nope, not going to work. So I sit at about 0.2 is my minimum for that, but I've got 0.25, 0.24 in here at the moment. The only downside is that every now and then you'll get a massive pop, and it's game over. But other than that, it's perfect.
Aye. So no. In my other hands, Saver. I'm running that on an old-fashioned iStick 30.
Nice.
Classic.
And that, and honestly,
That's what I've got the. There you go. That's what I've got the.
that's not a
on.
30. That's a 40, isn't it?
It's not a 30. It's a 40. But it's the 40 before it put the extended bit out to take 24mm tanks.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And honestly, that iStick, that must be 2 years old.
It's still going strong. The thing about the iSticks, the first thing that would give way is the threads, because they've got brass threads. So I've seen more iSticks with perfect batteries, but the thread is just smooth.
Yeah, no problem with this. I've got to say it's not been over. No, this isn't a brass thread.
Is it not?
No.
Maybe that was unique to the iStick 20s then.
Is this a 20?
Yeah,
or is
this
it a
one's not.
30?
This one's not brass either.
No, this is a 30.
That's definitely silvery in there.
Yeah. Ah, strange. Fair enough. That's probably why it's lasted so long then.
There you go.
Because those brass threads were soft as butter.
Just to be safe,
because I had.
do a tank on, leave it on there forever, just to be safe.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Top
Make
fill.
sure
Make sure you get a top fill. Put a top fill. Put a saver on there. Top fill. Lovely. Can I just ask you again about the Orion, the Lost Vape Orion, Mark? Have you seen anybody taking these to bits yet? Have you seen the size of the DNA Go board?
I've not seen one yet.
It is about the size of a postage stamp, but thinner. It is absolutely tiny. And considering all of the groovy, I mean, obviously it hasn't got a screen, but all of the things you can do with hooking it up to e-scribe, I think, although I love the Orion, I think it's a great looking pod system. I disagree. I'd like to see it as an interchangeable coil system. I think it's a shame to be thrown away the SS top cap. That drip tip, the drip tip with the airflow control is all part of that disposable bit. I think that's a real shame. I think if you had a screw-in changeable coil, it would be almost the ultimate, because the styling on it is superb. I mean, you've got the abalone one there, but it comes in genuine carbon fiber and stainless steel and black and a few of the colours. I think the styling is just superb. It's retro-tastic, and I love it. But the board, I think, has got so much potential. I can't wait to see what other modders are going to do with that board, because it's as big as a Bomber Pro or a Switch Fit or whatever, but connects up to e-scribe. It does all them funky, groovy things. I think we want to see some brilliant pod systems, and B, just some brilliant mods used. And I can't see why other modders are not going to use it in there, because it is so teeny tiny and so bloody clever. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I've
I'm
not had a
getting
play.
pinched and put in squonkers very, very shortly.
I think so. Because there's no need for. What are they? 40 watts. The DNA Go. 40 watts.
30 plus a 10 boost or whatever. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And Pete's just said in chat about the replay function. I've not actually played with the replay function yet. But apparently, when you find your perfect hit, your perfect vape, hit the replay button, and every time you vape after that, it will mimic and match that vape every time.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think you literally just press and hold that button at the bottom for 2 seconds or whatever. You get a flashy green light or whatever it is, and then bosh, it'll replicate that. Which is that like temp control or whatever doing that? It's something like that. It's bloody brilliant for.
Surely, if it's a consistent board, just pressing the button should give you the same result every time.
There you go. I've just replayed on my last drag.
The replay button just reminds me of The Fifth Element.
What with the gun?
He's got that massive gun like this, and he always asks me about the replay button. Anyway,
I think the replay takes it into consideration how long you've been vaping, how wet your wick is, and all that sort of malarkey. It's because temp control doesn't actually measure temp control, does it? It measures minute changes in the resistance of your coil.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the general gist of how temp control works. And I think it's a similar sort. I don't know the ins and outs. I think that's the general gist. Is my understanding of it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Have we seen the new device that our friends over at PMI have released?
I was going to say just one last thing before we leave the Orion. No, it's all right. What do we think of the price point? Because for me, it's a little on the pricey side for a pod system. Because it retails 79 quid.
No, are they really?
Absolutely.
I'm selling them far too cheap. Then we've got them on the shelf at 68.
I've seen them for 79. I don't know whether that comes with spare pods or.
Yeah, it comes with a pod in it. Bear with. Hold that thought.
And the pods you get two.
No idea what
you get two of them. You get two of them for a tenner.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Is it two for a tenner?
You get two for a tenner.
So
I've not changed my pod yet, and I'm on about my 11th, 12th fill on it.
Right. Okay. So for me, that's putting me off a little because obviously I'm used to buying coils where you get 4 or 5 for a tenner. It was what James was saying about swapping the coil, being able to swap the coils would be if I could change the coils. Yeah, for a Nautilus coil or something along those lines, I'd be all over it.
And even better if you had a rebuildable head system, so you because like you say the price point channel, it's a little pricey for.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? Is it a starter kit? It can't be a starter kit at 70 noughts. It's a little bit too spendy for a starter kit.
I think a lot of the time they stick DNA on the name and bam, price goes up.
I completely disagree with this because your starter kit users are going to come in and buy a blue. Your starter kit users are going to come in and buy X, Y, Z. This isn't designed at the starter market at all. This is designed for people like me. I'm not going to say us because I'm not going to generalise, but that don't want a cheap pod system, that want something that feels quality in the hand, that you know something's well built, that you know it's got a decent board in it, and you know it's gonna last. For me, there's no. I'm not being pompous. I'm not being a dick in any way. For me, it's perfect. And okay, let's say what they're saying, 70 quid. So 70 quid for me, for a piece of metal that is quality, that I know is going to last, that has got an incredible proven board in it, to me it's worth 70 quid rather than going out and spending 20 quid on this pod system and 20 quid on that pod system and 30 quid on that pod system to realise, you know what, that's actually dog shit. I'm never going to use it again. I've lost count how many pod... If I was to dig around on my desk, I bet I'd find 2 or 3 pod systems that I've not even gone through a pod. The Zel2 is a prime example. I couldn't even tell you where my Zel2 is. I enjoyed it when I first got it.
Now
and then it's just meh. It's okay. Don't get me wrong. It's okay. But this, to me, is more than okay. I've got the quality.
Yeah.
You've got a little bit of fiddling you can do with it. You've got those 3 different power levels.
You've got e-scribe. If you're not happy with if you're not happy with the way that it hits, that it fires, go into e-scribe and change it. If you want your low, medium and high to be higher or lower, change it. Okay, that's not going to appeal to the starter market, which is why I'm saying it's not a starter system.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's overpriced for a starter system. The quality is too high for a starter system. There's loads of reasons why it's not a starter kit. But who does it appeal to? Is it just us? Is it just our sort of market? Is it the people who want something to go in? I'm not arguing with you because I totally agree with you. I think it is. I think it is us. I think it's somebody who's a little bit more than a starter, not even necessarily a full-on hobbyist, but they do want something a little bit more quality. They also want something that's portable. On Facebook groups, even high-end Facebook groups, people who spend a lot of money on gear, nearly all of them have got a pod system of some sort because it's dead convenient. They go in your pocket, you can just nip to the pub with them or whatever it is. You're not bothered if you drop them or break them. Granted, this is a little bit higher than that, price-wise. But I just think the market is a little bit limited to who they're actually aimed to. I'm not disagreeing. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's one of certainly the coolest pod system out there. Without it, looks-wise, I'd like to see a one-ohm coil. If I'm straight with you, I'd like to see a proper mouth-alone one-ohm coil. You've seen you've had 7 or 8 fills already. I think you're going to get more money, more value for money with a one-ohm coil. It should, in theory, last a little bit longer than lower ohms. But yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm just concerned that it's a weird market. That's all I'm saying. It's a weird market that they're selling to, I think.
Yeah. It does seem. Seems to be the one that everyone's hand checking. I don't know whether it's just the kind of Instagram people that I follow, the Facebook groups I'm in, but the oh, look what I've got, and it's the Orion. So
I like something small. I like something portable. It's that small and portable. I just dropped it on the floor and I can't fucking find it.
He's going to roll over it and snap it in half in a minute.
Yeah.
It's in shag.
We'll go for the old light.
Hey, yeah, I did kind of interrupt it.
You
Genuinely can't find it now, can you?
The Orion.
He's lost an entire setup. It's usually the drip tip or something that crawls.
It's one of those things. You drop it on the ground and you look again, and it's in the garden shed. Like, how the hell did it get in here?
Yeah, it's in the fridge. What?
What?
You drop something. I swear that there are magnets underneath my cupboards, so that you drop something and it rolls underneath. There must be magnets or something.
Yeah, they're in league with the trolls that live in your bag that knot up all the cables when you put them in there.
That's the ones.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you drop it. It always ends up under the cupboard, just too far away to get your hand in to reach it.
Yeah, exactly.
Always.
Did you find it?
I did. It was actually in the dustbin on top of a nappy. So, all good.
Told you.
Ew.
All right, so you were saying PMI, right? So we're talking Philip Morris International, right?
Our friends over at PMI. I don't know how many shows Mr. Blythe has seen, but we're not big fans of PMI over here. We appreciate what they do, and they're keeping people off the fags, but
Barely.
Yeah, we dislike their morals. Their morals.
Before we get into their new device, I'm just on their website here, and it says in big white letters on a blue background, 5.8 million consumers have already switched to IQOS. I am calling bullshit on that. There's only about 3.3 million vapers in the whole of the UK. Now, I know they have a huge Malaysian and Asian market. But there's no way that 5.8 million people use their products. Not a chance.
I actually had a guy come into the shop one day this week. It was like, you got any of them IQOS fags?
Amazing.
I was like,
I went down to visit Jimmy in e-cig Zoo. I literally, I'd got a day off. It was a Friday. I'd got fuck all else to do. I went down. I went to see Jimmy, and at one point he was serving another customer. I was behind the counter, and this couple came in, and just came up to me and said, "Yeah, have you got any of those IQOS things. You know, and
Did you smack them?
I'd gone down to visit. It was the first customer who'd actually spoken to me as if I knew what I was on about. Do you know what I mean? And it was about fucking IQOS. I'm like, oh my god.
But this guy that came in, you know, I pointed him in the right direction of the local lunatic asylum. Pointed him in the right direction. He's like, you know what? They're better than all this vape shit. I was like, what? He's like, well, have you seen the filters when they come out? They're clean. They're absolutely clean. There's no shit. There's no chemicals. They're so much better for you than vaping.
Did you educate him?
The first thing I said was, you do know that four of those IQOS cigarettes are the equivalent of one normal cigarette. And they're like, really?
I wasn't even going to go there because he sounded as though he worked for IQOS, so he didn't. But
I mean, I'll give it to them. Their website's right, Flash.
I've never looked, to be honest.
Got money?
Yeah, of course. You put it in, but it's very scientific. There's lots of people in lab coats and
can you share your
sciencey.
screen? Can you share your screen?
Yes, I can. Yep, bear with me 2 seconds. Gotta find. Whoops, that's not it.
Well, while you're doing that, I've managed to rebuild me intake. Yay! Just thought I'd show you. It's now got juice in and everything. Anyway, there you go.
So this is it. Look, 5.8 million consumers already switched to IQOS. Right, so you got this, and they got flashy shit going on. Oh wait, look at that. That's right, flashy. That is. I know the fact that shit's hard to code. But I cannot.
Hang on. They've nicked that directly off WordPress.
Yeah, of course they have. But look, right, I cannot find their products anywhere. Right?
I've used that for the vaguely vaping related podcast website. Looks like that.
Okay, so the rule of websites is the 3-click rule. If you can't get to any page on the website within 3 clicks, your website's designed wrong. Okay, so that's 1 click. Going to consumer corner. Well, that didn't even click. Oh, here we go. So this one could be good. Discover more. That's 2 clicks. Let's see if that takes us anywhere. Come on. Honestly, okay.
Mark Skiers wants to know if we can get a stab sleeve for our IQOS.
And my 3rd click leads to. Well, this is my 2nd click. Oh, is this going to be the 3rd click that releases us to the products? Of course, it's fucking not. So the point is they've got a lot of information, but nothing about what their products are. You even click on smoke-free products, right? Or I can. Oh, should we discover IQOS? Let's discover IQOS. I mean, what the fuck is this?
All I keep seeing is tobacco meets technology and the same bloody information thrown at you again and again and again.
You know what?
No, I discovered.
It seems to me as though it's very, very clinical, and it kind of feels like the NHS website.
But there's nothing about their individual products.
Lots of statistics, lots of information, lots of graphs, lots of nothing.
Look at this stock imagery. Like, they paid money for that stock imagery. Look at this guy. I mean, he is definitely a CEO or something. Oh my god! Imagine their conversation. What do you think they're talking about?
Like, you know, if you've ever used WordPress and
hold that there, Cass, scroll back. Right,
it's our CEO friend.
So that guy to her, right? He is saying, guys, in chat, what is Mr. CEO saying to Mrs. Afro Woman? What is he saying? Because in my head, I know exactly what he's saying.
I've completely lost all the feeling down my left arm.
What you can't see, you see where this is it, right? What he's hiding is a lit fag. Right, just
he is saying. She's saying, well, I've actually quit traditional smoking and I am now vaping. And he's saying, don't you know vaping gives you popcorn, lord?
Right. And then there we go. Look, so now we've got some in the public photos. Individual risk reduction times consumer switching equals population harm reduction. I'm going to have to get
Basic
someone
maths,
to
that's
calculate that
basic
for me.
maths.
Oh, yeah. And then this guy's like, guys, I got an ICOS. And then this person over here is like, shut up. What the fuck are you doing, you dickhead? Put it away. But he's classy because he's got palm trees on his shirt, so he's clearly a hipster.
He's got what you can't see. What you can't see is he hasn't got his top knot out.
But this leather watch was clearly bought on Wish for like $4.
I still have nothing against ICOS particularly. I can see that it has got a place.
Sorry, Chandler's lost his ability to talk because he's got nothing against ICOS. So as I've got all the buttons, I've taken away his ability to talk.
Oh, dear.
Lord, thank the Lord. Look at him, look at him. He's sitting there, he loves icons. Look at that. He's saying vape. Vape's nothing. Vape. Smoke not burn. Smoke not burn, dude.
Do you know the funny thing is I never actually muted him and all he's doing is pretending to talk.
I'm just looking on the chat here of what they thought Mr. CEO Man said, and one got Diddy said we're thinking of making one with a DNA. He asked your place or my place. Dave Ape's probably got the winner here though. Can you get your kids to go to bed? And did you bring the whips?
Oh,
do you think he has a post-sex ICOS vape? Like, do you...
What, does it taste of love?
Yeah, you know, they're just sat there like
It's
sweaty in their own bodily juices. And he's like, I've got an ICOS. She's like, I'm fucking leaving.
To be honest though, if with an ICOS, if you don't smoke it, you don't vape it. So what is it? So that would be a post-sex suck?
It's basically a plastic tampon. I mean, let's be honest.
Oh no, I've got this horrible image in my head.
Anyway, not that we're slagging off ICOS in any way. So they've released a new product called the ICOS Mesh. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. It's obviously contains e-liquid.
You sure about that?
And is part of the ICOS ethos of smoke-free future. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it, to be honest. Are they going to get less shit at vape conferences and vape shows for turning up with e-liquid rather than tobacco?
No.
If they leave the smoke not burn at home, if they leave the smoke not burn stuff at home, and they just take the vapey stuff, they might get a little bit. They're still gonna get shit. Let's be fair.
Right, no burnt taste. Right, I how much are the 20 quid? I know they're 20 quid.
Right.
And when
20 quid for these.
When the ICOS first came out, I actually said for the show I was going to buy one and give it a try on the show.
We did,
because it's not smoking. It's not smoking.
Yeah.
And then I saw the price point of it, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, no, it's not happening. It's not happening.
We had a chat, didn't we? We said, why don't we all get one and we'll try one? And and then we just went, oh, hang on a minute, it's going to cost 80 quid for the system, and then it's another 20 quid for the Veets or whatever they call them. And it's like, no.
What
flavor? 20 quid just to try something.
So, no burnt taste. Designed to prevent overheating and burnt taste so you can enjoy a consistent vape every time. It has replay. Wow.
No? Really?
Convenience. Here we go. Convenience. 1 90-minute charge lasts a full day. Based on an average consumption of 1 capsule per day.
Do you know what my biggest bugbear is with these? Sorry to interrupt you, dude.
No, go on.
Why do all of these tobacco-based companies have to have pre-filled pods? And why are there only 2 in the box? I mean, come on.
It's like
It's it's selling 2.1 mils or whatever of e-liquid for the equivalent to £180 100 mils or whatever it is. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So what is this product here? This is a flat. Is this a flat mesh based system with cotton on the top? Is that what we're looking at here? Is that what this is?
It's from the look of it, it's a pod system. They're obviously using. I don't know if they're using mesh because my research didn't find anything on whether or not they're using a mesh or anything. To be fair.
It would kind of imply that, considering they called it the mesh, and it says it uses mesh technology.
You'd assume, wouldn't you? You'd assume.
But they don't.
All the research I did, there was nothing.
It looks like a totally starter kit from 2014.
Explain this to me. There's a new mesh heater inside each cap, eliminating the need to manually replace it. You're literally throwing the pods away and manually putting them back in when they run out.
But it's okay because they've got a person in a lab with a pair of tweezers.
Yeah, looking what looks like something they picked off their back when they got sunburnt. Like, honestly.
The thing that gets me with these systems anyway, regardless of who it's from, is that they've kind of made it. Mesh is supposed to last a bit longer than regular coils before you need to change it. And yet, like you say, it's a single-use. I am right. It's a single-use pod, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, single-use pod. So you could refill that pod half a dozen, if not 10 times, before needing to change the coil. So it just seems such a waste to have a single use, chuck it away, when if you could just refill it, you could continue to use it another 10 times. That's 10 pods going to landfill when you could have one.
Mesh so much longer. That people have mesh builds in Jenny's for years. The same mesh build. They change the wire. It doesn't mention a coil though, does it? It doesn't actually say a coil. No. It says a mesh heating.
I wonder whether. You see, for me, mesh was always used as I always used it as wick. I didn't use mesh as the heating implement, so I'd always have a tube of mesh that was scorched, and then wrap
a coil around it. Absolutely,
wrap a coil around it.
But how long do you think the mesh outlasts the e-liquid that's in it? Do you think you could refill it 4, 5, 6 times before the mesh or whatever heating element they had burnt out? Because that's the big issue, is that those little heating elements way outlast the amount of juice that's in them.
Yeah. If there's no cotton in that at all, that mesh could theoretically, with a dry burn, last. If their estimate is one pod a day, that mesh could last years, literally years. The plastic would biodegrade before the mesh was unusable.
Of course. And this is the other thing that I've just seen in the comments, right? Again, more plastic waste as well. This is just what we need, right? When the TPD came in, our plastic and cardboard use tripled for every 30ml bottle, right? Because not only did it have the bottle, you had the label, you had some of them have the little leaflet and the cardboard box, right? And then as a new
cap, you've got
the
three
cap as well.
Caps. You've got 3 caps compared to 1.
Exactly, and this was the other bugbear, is that as a fairly new industry in the grand scheme of industries, we should be taking a massive social responsibility against things like reusable things, which is why I disagree with replacing an entire pod, for example, on the Orion. You know, I also disagree with companies like Smok making fuck-off coils that are like 90% metal when there just doesn't need to be that much material used.
Do you remember me talking about the Stig?
Oh, the full disposable.
The full disposable system. Now, I was given one of these. It's got 50 milligram salts in, I think. Yeah. And that battery is practically dead. I'm getting nothing.
No other
That's
tank
a
pissing me off lately.
system with a lithium-ion battery in it.
Yeah, and when you're done with it, you toss it away, you put it in the bin.
That's really wasteful. Right.
That's bad.
Does anyone
Really
know?
bad.
Anyone know about the Preco tank or the Preco tank? The fully disposable sub-ohm tank.
Yes, I've
Oh
seen that
yeah,
this week.
I've seen these.
What's
Who
that?
the fuck is signing off on this shit?
Are you telling me you have a sub-ohm tank, you screw it on, you fill it up, when the coil's busted, you just chuck it away and buy a new one?
I will share my screen once more.
Oh
Bear with.
no!
Let me find the tab.
To be
Right, this isn't the actual company website, but this whole tank here is disposable. Nothing about that you keep.
It's all plastic, isn't it?
Whole thing's plastic. Oh, look at that! It's got a mesh coil.
But
Why
is
are
the
we
mesh-
allowing
Can you go back there, Cass? Is that a mesh coil, or is that a
mesh coil?
sheet of
Built-in
mesh? That
mesh
seems to be the
coil.
new thing. Is these sheets of mesh?
yeah.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I think they taste fantastic. I tried the Clito Pro with the mesh coil in it the other day. Absolutely wonderful. You get a really smooth, really nice vape off of it. That's not the issue I have with this tank. The thing is that we're allowing companies to come out with these massively wasteful plastic tanks. The last thing this world needs is more plastic.
How much are they? Just out of interest.
What are they selling them for? Let's have a look. I'm just going to go to the old Google search where I was at. UK Vaping 360, is that a shop?
No, that's or is it? Oh, okay. No, that's just a review for it. I would have thought.
So they come in a pack of 3, and this is 17. You're looking at about 14 quid for three of them. Yeah.
Because I was thinking things like.
There we go.
But how much plastic is in that? How much plastic and metal is in that in compared to a regular pod system? It's probably like for like. It's probably very similar.
Oh yeah, probably.
I'd wonder whether a pod system's got more in it. I know you're only throwing the pod away, but yeah, I still
something that a lot of people miss.
I still haven't thrown that away, but that's where that's going because it doesn't work.
But has anyone ever known?
Apparently, Rick's reviewed it. It'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see.
But does anyone have this problem with replaceable pods, right? Where you can't change the coils, is that you've just filled it up, you get 2 puffs in, the coil's burnt. Shit, now I can't get my juice back out. Has anyone ever had that? With a replaceable coil, you can make a bit of a mess, but you still get your coil out. You know?
I don't think you do, Cass. You know, you look at a lot of the... I know we're not necessarily... We are talking about sub-tanks. There's a lot of sub-tanks. You know, if you...
Billet box.
If you look at the Hurricane, I can turn that upside down. The juice is in the cap. I can change the coil. However, you any other sort of struggling to think of
my
examples.
Petri doesn't. You can't get to the deck with the Petri if it's full.
You have to dump the contents of the tank.
But at least you can get it out.
If you want to try, if you want to,
you can pour it back in.
If you want to change the coil on a billet box, again, you've got to dump the juice.
But you can dump the juice back into your bottle.
Or syringe it, like Stuart said.
Oh, syringe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair dues.
Yeah. There we go. I don't know. You could go on for hours about this.
Chandler, does the blue light up if suck on stick without pod in it? Does it fire without a pod in it?
Feckin' thing don't fire at all at the minute.
No, it can't because that's how it's the pod that is the firing element. So that the pod is the mouthpiece.
Yeah, if you haven't got the connection, because you've got the connection at the bottom. If there's no connection in there, there's no circuit, so it doesn't do anything.
Have you heard about?
It's a really tight draw without the tanking. So yeah, go on. Have we heard about?
We know with Australia with vaping being banned. So vaping is still prohibited in Australia, but they're about to put up the tax on cigarettes.
It
once
does
more.
depend. It does depend on which Australian state you're in.
Okay.
So there is an Australian state that completely bans nicotine completely. I
Cigarettes
can't remember
as well?
whether I can't remember. No, cigarette. You can buy cigarettes. It's the liquid nicotine because it's in Australia. It's classed as a poison because they used to use it on. You used to be able to use nicotine as a pesticide, and when they used it in that form, it's extremely toxic to marine life and it's very bad for the environment. So it's on their list of poisons. But there are some states where you can import nicotine, so you can buy it from out. So you can import it from China, wherever, and buy it in. You're just not allowed to sell it in a bricks and mortar.
Right. So America has put up the tax by 12.5%.
That happened in Chicago. We were talking about that last week, weren't we?
Yeah, $10 worth of e-liquid is taxed up to $54.
Apparently, Australia already holds the title for being the most expensive place in the world to buy cigarettes.
It's about $18, $19 a pack of fags now, isn't it? Oh no, it's more than that. It's $30.
$30 for a packet of cigarettes.
Yeah, I mean, that's about 18 British pounds.
They used to be cheap.
Hmm?
They used to be cheap.
What, cigarettes in Australia?
Oh,
Have
in
never been
Australia.
cheap.
Oh, I think
Yeah, no,
that's
it's
right.
the Australian Prime Minister earlier this year basically went, we're just going to screw every smoker over, which, I'm not against people who still smoke because they just haven't found the light yet. But the point is that you shouldn't do that to people who might not necessarily have the money to do something that they're addicted to. If they did it to vaping, I'd say exactly the same thing. It's like he just went, right, we're just going to put the price so it's inaffordable, so you have to quit.
Yeah. Apparently, India is also about to ban cigarettes, electronic cigarettes as well.
Yep. It says here the health ministry has asked states to ban electronic nicotine delivery systems, including e-cigarettes, vape, e-shisha, and e-hookah. Something, blah, blah, blah. The move comes in the wake of the Delhi HC recently taking strong exception to the centre of delay and coming up with regulatory measures to tackle the new emerging threat of e-cigarettes in the country.
According to the Indian government, smoking kills more than 900,000 people a year in the country, but officials said that e-cigarettes and heat-not-burn devices must be banned outright, saying they are a great health risk to the public at large, especially to children, adolescents, pregnant women, and women of reproductive ages.
Yeah, studies say ends of cancer-causing properties are highly addictive and do not offer a safer alternative to tobacco-based products. They're just a mechanism to deliver nicotine in an attractive format. Well, that last bit, yes, you're not wrong, but the first bit is very wrong.
Yeah.
I think we're... Cass, do you realise you're still showing the screen? Yeah. I think we're lucky. Our government... Obviously, we're going through Stoptober at the moment. Obviously, every vape shop in the country is promoting and pushing. That reminds me. For our government to be behind it, we're really lucky. There's countries in the world that their government makes far too much money out of tax dollars to even consider allowing vaping. Yes, I had a bit of an argy-bargy today. I must admit. And I know this probably we've tested a lot of pod systems. We've tested a lot of the affordable smaller systems to see which one in particular we're going to push. Now, the one that we went for, and I know it's owned by BAT, but in my opinion it's probably the best pod system, affordable pod system on the market. Now, Blue contacted us and said, if you agreed to take every other pod system off your shelf that's owned by another tobacco company, we will give you 25% off for just stocking blue only. So they were blown out of the water straight away.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I tried the smock. The smock have got a smock pen that looks very similar to the Voldemort, the pod system that we're not allowed to name, and the blue. And that's
Wait,
got
which one is this? Oh wait, I think I know.
Yeah, it's a smock pen. It looks like a jewel, fucking hell. But you can. It's got a rubber bung. You can pull down. You can refill the pod up. And actually, I tried that, and it just blows the blue out of the water. It's way better than the blue.
Oh, to be fair, with the blue, all you need is a flathead screwdriver, and you can refill it.
Oh, you can refill it. You can just pull the bottom off with that's what I do. Pull the bottom off with the tweezers and refill it. It's a piece of cake, but to have something that's designed to refill it, I thought it was genius. But vape wise, it was everything the blue isn't. The blue ought to be. There you go.
So the one we went for was the Vape. Now we managed to get a really good price on the Vape. There was a national offer that went on. I gave the Vape salesman an awful lot of shit in my office when he came in, but I do like the product. The product's good, and we've got it on the shelf for Stoptober. Stoptober.
Yeah, that's right.
Stoptober. We've got them on the shelf at $9.99,
Wow.
which is a lot lower than wholesale. A lot lower than wholesale, and we're doing it just to get it out there, just to get e-cigarettes out there, just to get people at least trying it. You know, come in, spend 10 quid, give it a week. Give it a week. If you don't like it after a week, put it in the bin. I've still saved you 100 quid.
There we go. Exactly.
Is this E-Pen 3? Is this what you...
Yep, the E-Pen 3. The E-Pen 3. So, I had a couple of customers come into the shop today that both told me the same story, that another retailer, which will remain anonymous, but they are very important people, were telling my customers that the Vape kits that we were selling were fake, and they will blow up. If you buy them, they will blow up in your face.
Amazing. Did you take a crowbar to their stand in whatever shopping centre they were in?
I didn't, but I'm usually water off a duck's back. I don't get involved. I don't give a shit with things like this. But you know what? We're making practically nothing on them, and we're doing them for the good of the community. And it irritated me. It really did hit a nerve.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So I paid a visit. I went and had a chat with.
You went and paid a visit.
I went and paid a visit to the very important people that were on. That were standing on the stand of a very important podium.
Is this in a shop? They're on a stall in a shopping centre, I assume.
They are, and they think they're very, very important people. Yeah, went in, had a chat, completely denied any knowledge. Now I got a complete description of the person that told these two people separately, individually, about this. And she stood there and she says, I don't know who it could have been. Bearing in mind I just described her to herself. She's like, I don't know who could it be. Sally's not on. She's not been on this week. And Paul, no, it was definitely a woman. It was definitely a woman. She definitely had black shoulder length hair, tattoos on her arms.
And her name was...
And she was like, oh, I just don't know who it could have been. But no, it really irritated me. You know, I'm not doing this for any other reason other than to get people off cigarettes. And, you know, to put these promotions on isn't cheap. You know,
No, of course not.
we're practically giving stock away. So for other, yeah, it's irritated me. I thought I'd share that with you.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Such a shame.
Oh,
Those very important people don't have a very good name, to be honest with you, and certainly not around these spots.
No.
No.
So either way, if you're in the local area to Leicester, this isn't a sales pitch. Like I say, we're
Yeah,
not. We're barely covering costs on them. If anyone wants to stop, come in, see us. Corner of Belgrave Gate. We have got the Vape Systems 2 pods, 10 quid. Give them a try. If you've got friends, family that want to try them, now, fuck it. If they're on I think they're on our website at full retail. If you know anyone that would benefit from one and you want one, drop me a PM. I'll send you a discount code to get it down to the $9.99, just to get people off the cigarettes. I'm not doing it because I want to do it. I'm doing it because we love the industry, because we want to get people off the cigarettes.
So, Mark, is that a starter kit as well? You're talking about somebody can walk in, plug in a pod or whatever, and they can vape for, because a tenner is about the size of 20, about the price of 20 fags, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is now.
You go out and you go, well, I've got this money for 20 fags, but I'm not going to buy them. I'm going to buy this Vibe 3, and I'm going to try vaping for Stockholm or whatever.
Yeah. Talk about people giving up smoking for the first time. Yeah, exactly that. Sorry, exactly that. Yeah, it's literally the cost of a packet of fags. It'll probably last longer, and people can walk away, and they're so easy to use. So people can't use that it's too difficult, I don't want to do it, as an excuse, because you literally put it in your mouth and breathe.
There we go. So just scroll that up. Is that? No, that's not. Oh, that's the Smock Inifix. Yeah.
That's the Inifix. That was the Smock. That was the Smock pen that I tried.
But are the coils any good? Do they last longer than a single fill?
They do last longer than a single fill, apparently. Ask Jimmy. I haven't got one. I was actually quite tempted, because you can, as you can see, you just refill your pods up.
There we go. Yeah. Bessie's just said in chat the Vape Systems are ace, I think, and they were by far the best one that we tried.
Yeah.
Anyway,
talking about people giving up today, I had a lad in my shop, and he'd been given a T-Priv Smock mod by his mate, right? And he came in, he goes, I've been told I want to start vaping. I've been given this. I've told it needs a new coil. He said, no worries. We sell packs of coils, no problem. And I said, have you got any juice on you? I can set it up now. And he went, no, I haven't. I said, no problem. We can sort you out with that. I was like, right. It feels a little light. You've got the batteries for this, right? No, I don't. No, I don't have the batteries for this. I was like, right, okay. Okay. I said, have you got a charger for it? And he goes, yeah, I've got the cable in the box. And I went, no. You need a bay charger to charge the batteries for these. Oh, well, how much is all that going to cost? Best part of 50, 60 quid. I said, look, I'll be honest with you, mate. I can sell you something for the same money you're about to spend that is going to be better. You don't have to faff around with batteries. You can just plug it in and charge it. He's like, no, my mate gave me this. He'd be really upset if I went and bought something else. I said, but, it's completely up to you. I feel like I'm doing the mechanic thing of, oh, mate, you got to get this sorted, and you got to get this sorted, and you got to get this sorted. And I felt really bad for the dude. I mean, he ended up spending like 50, 60 quid, a couple of sets of batteries, charger, juice, coils, the whole works. And I was just like, mate, you on
a direct-to-lung system that's probably not going to keep him off the fags.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, the guy wasn't like a complete dumbass. Like, he understood what I was saying, but I think it's simply because he didn't want to let his mate down that he didn't want. I said, look, if this breaks, which it will do in the next week, come back and see me. Come back and see me. I can sort you out with something that's going to work specific. You don't even need to spend 60 quid. I can do you something for like 25 quid, and you're going to be happy with it. And it's going to be cheaper in the long run. You're going to be buying coils every 3 days because you went through a pack of 5 in half an hour. So, I mean, they burn out by filling the fucking things. So, and I just felt like a really sleazy salesman saying to him, yeah, you're going to need this, mate. And you're going to need this, mate. And you're going to need this, mate. I mean, he took it on the chin. I don't think he took it like that. But it's like you were saying, it's not a sales pitch because you were giving it away. For me, it's like, I just wanted to get him out and vaping. Even if it meant, yeah. So, I mean, I think the kid went away happy. He bought some, I don't even remember what juice he bought, but he was well happy with it. And off he went, showed him how to use it all. But he could have saved himself a lot of money if he had just told his mate to stop being a dickhead and give him all the bits he needed.
James, what's your, obviously you're a consumer, you're obviously involved in the industry, but not from a point of view other than you vape, and you know you're a key figure within the industry. How do you feel about sort of this equipment that is designed, I say designed loosely, like the direct to lung, that are aimed at the starter?
I think it's ridiculous to say that they're aimed at the starter. I mean, they are aimed at the starter. They totally are. People are pinning them or pegging them as starter kits, and yet I don't think anybody, any serious, anybody who seriously wants to come off the cigarettes, they want to replicate the feel of a cigarette initially. I know there is a trend, and there has been a trend in the past for big clouds, and I'm sure some people see that and they want the cool big clouds. For me, it's a bit like the likes of Philip Morris, where they're selling, they're giving you X amount for free. You know, the blue for free, and then you've got to but then they secretly subscribe you to buying the pods and that sort of thing. It's to generate you to come back and you to buy that 3 milligram juice. I don't think 3 milligram juice is going to be strong enough to get you off the cigarettes initially. I think what you need is something to replicate a cigarette. You need a nice tight mouth to lung. If you remember how tight cigarettes were, they were a tight mouth to lung. It's a tight mouth to lung. And I really think it benefits the shop that's selling that setup, obviously, because you're going to say, yeah, well, here's 50 mils of juice in a short fill or whatever. Come back the day after tomorrow and buy another one of them, rather than selling them 10 mils of juice in 18, 20 milligram. That'll see them all week, maybe it's a little bit longer. But when I first started vaping 5 years ago, your only choice was mouth to lung. There was no direct lung. It was mouth to lung, and it was strong juices, and that was what got me off the cigarettes. And I strongly believe that is what gets a lot of people off the cigarettes, not a direct lung, big cloud setup. I think it's really a mechanism to sell more juice at the end of the day, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think people are successful that way. I don't think a lot of people. A friend of mine tried to give up smoking many times, and I think I've got reasonably reasonably mouth to lung ish type setups, and he couldn't vape them. They made him cough. And eventually he packed in with a setup where he closed the airflow off completely. Still got a vape in 18 milligram, but it was a tiny wisp of a vape. But he still got the nicotine he needed, and that was eventually what got him off there. And he physically couldn't keep the vape into his lungs. It made him cough. And I think if anybody who's not just a kid who wants a stylish setup, you know, when I say a kid, I mean, you know, a youngster who wants a stylish setup with lasers and rainbows and massive screens like Chandler. If you're not into that kind of thing, then why are you buying that kind of product? Why are you pushing that product to people? For me, it should be a mouth to lung. It should be a high nicotine juice, and it should be something that actually replicates cigarettes. Even if it's something made by one of these big tobacco type people.
You see,
I think it's just a mechanism to sell more juice.
Yeah, I think looking at it now, you know, vapers or potential vapers have got a lot more choice. You go back to when we all first started, you know, I'm 4 or 5 years back, you know, it was CE4s and ego pens, and that's what we had, and that was your choice, unless you wanted to go for a £300, £400, £500 Jenny setup, which the main market wasn't aware of. You know, it was quite underground, it was quite quiet, it didn't really exist as far as Joe Public was concerned. And we've done our time. You know, we've seen a lot of good stuff, we've seen a lot of shit stuff, a hell of a lot of shit stuff, but the shit stuff got us off cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
But like James just said, you know, it is a vehicle for selling more juice, for getting people to buy 60, 120ml bottles, you know, with 2 Nick shots, which makes it 3 milligram. It's not going to get people off the cigarettes, but they want and I call them bear clouds, bro. That's what they want. They see their mates chucking these ginormous .007 build clouds, and that's what they want. That's what they want, to look cool. But they forget it's not about looking cool. It's about nicotine cessation. It's about us stopping people from smoking. It's about replacing, you know, your intake of nicotine from tobacco and cigarettes with an alternative. A safer alternative.
It's like what I just said in the chat. The amount of people I have come in saying, have you got this device? I used my mates and it seemed okay. And then you find out what the device is and you realise that it's a dual battery 200 watt mod sub-ohm monster. And you say, well, that's not going to get you off the cigarettes. Well, I tried it and it seemed fine. Yeah, how many cigarettes did it stop you from having, though? You know, you might have liked the flavour then and there, but use it as a full replacement. Don't have a cigarette and use just this, and see how quickly you are before you are climbing the walls. And you know, we're talking about shit mods and crazy lasers and people looking cool, right? Do you remember the Zomo Exo Armor?
Yeah, with the cage.
I've found its only one redeeming feature, and I'd like to show you something quickly, because I think
is it holding your table leg up?
No. Check this out. So let me just oh, come on. Right. Okay, check this out. This is cool as hell. That is the redeeming feature. That box.
Is that the box? Oh, that is
Yeah.
awesome.
Do it again. Do it again.
Do the box again. Do the box again.
He flips it over and he's like, aha. See, now I think they should have put a dry ice capsule in there. That'd have been way cooler.
It's almost like an Apple product.
Yeah, the thing is, right, it's got so many parts that you drop it and you launch all of your parts across the floor. Because you got... But yeah, no, that's beside the point. But this is it. Is that a lot of people go into... I actually had a girl come in Monday and she said, I want to start vaping. I said, do you smoke? And she goes, no. I said, well, you don't want to start vaping then. And she said, well, I want to vape zero nicotine. I said, well, why do you want to vape zero nicotine? And she goes, don't know, just do. And I mean, I'm not going to tell someone what they can and can't buy, but I said, look, I really strongly recommend that you don't start this for any reason. I think the only bonus is that you can just say, well, actually, at work, I want to go out for a vape because the smokers get a fag break. Why shouldn't I? You know, that is the only redeeming feature of that. But the point is I said, the amount of people I get saying, oh, yeah, I haven't smoked in 25 years, but I need a cigarette, so I want to vape. So, well, just don't. You don't. If you've never smoked, don't bother starting. And if you've made it 25 years, you can keep going.
Yeah, just have a biscuit, and eventually that craving will go. Just walk on by. You know, I mean, I'm from.
You'll end up 25 stone, but you know, it's fine.
Yeah. I need a biscuit vape. I'm hooked on these biscuits. I've got some biscuits. Vape on. I mean, vaping is quite popular here in Sunderland. I see a lot of vapers, a lot of vapers. And you know what? They are middle-aged men and women. They are people my age and older. My mother is a vapor. She's in her 70s now. And a lot of the people you see are in that age range. That sort of, it's not kids vaping crazy setups. It is people with very, very basic starter kits vaping to stop them from smoking because of health reasons or because of financial reasons or whatever it may be. And that is, I believe, that is the bread and butter, and that should be the bread and butter of most vape shops. It should be high nicotine,
100%.
and it should be starter kits coils, CE4. I mean, CE4s are so much better than they ever used to be. That sort of style of pen vape is awesome now. I don't see many cigar likes. You know, when I first started vaping, there was a lot of things that looked exactly like a cigarette with a little blue light on the end and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've not seen anybody's vaping them, to be honest with you, in the last 3 years. But I see a lot of people vaping, and they're all, like I say, they're all the older generation. They're all people who, for health reasons or financial reasons, whatever it is, are vaping these sort of vape pens.
Anyone remember a company called Gamucci?
Yeah. I started with a Gamucci about when I very first started vaping. This is before I classed myself as starting vaping. It was about 8 or 10 years ago. I bought a Gamucci from not from a vape shop, because there wasn't such a thing as a vape shop. It was from a gadget shop, and it was like an electronic cigarette. You know, it was a digital fag. It was an electronic cigarette, and I was like, wow, this is so. And I took it to the smoke room when I worked, and I was like, yeah, I'm robot smoking or whatever.
But the thing,
that's what I started Gamucci, yeah.
That was the cigar like that my company had for a very long time. We had some very loyal customers to Gamucci. Oh, sorry, 2 seconds. I will continue in just one moment. Bear with me a second. You carry on.
Okay, so we're down to just the two of us. So yeah, that was when my very first dip in the ocean of vaping was with this Gamucci, and it was awful. It wasn't a nice vape at all, as I recollect. But then my expectations were high. I kind of expected it to be, you know, I was talking about this to Chandler at the weekend on his podcast, on his very good podcast, on the vaguely vaping related podcast, about how tobaccos, they never taste exactly like a cigarette. And when you're coming straight from, and it's a long time since I've had a cigarette, when you're coming straight from cigarettes to try and vape a tobacco, now I like a tobacco vape, but they don't taste like tobacco.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that was my very first foray into vaping. So yeah, what were you saying there, Kaz?
What I was saying is that, we had some really, really loyal customers to Gamucci, and I found out that about 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, they went bust. Even when they released their juice range, didn't save them, and they've actually been bought out and liquidated, which is a shame because we don't have them in anymore, and we still get people coming in. But I think my company must ship 40,000 bottles of high nic juice a week.
Why do I find that amusing that they've been liquidated?
Ha 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 ha. But this is the thing, right? And I think all of the cigar-like companies are trying to screw each other over, because you could never cross-fit different cartridges. You could never cross-fit different cartridges to different batteries. They would never be the same. And I think that's what killed them. If they'd have managed to do that, they'd have kept themselves going as a company. But CE4s, again, I mean, I try and get people on like little Kanga EVOD tanks when they buy 5 CE4s a week. I'm like, well, just buy one of these Kanga. No, it's not the same. You know, they don't like the Kanga EVOD tanks.
You do get used to what you used to. I mean, I was hooked on the C4s, C3s, whatever they were, and you do, when something new comes out, you're like, yeah, but this is so nice. I've got used to this. It's almost like the brand loyalty that you had with cigarettes.
Oh, 100%.
It's like, no. I'm a B&H guy. That's all I'll smoke, B&H, and you get a little bit of that with vaping. It's like, yeah, no, I found this, it works, I'm sticking with it.
Do you not think that's when you cross over to being the more hobbyist side of vaping, when you no longer think I've got a specific loyalty to a product? I mean, it does happen, but when you're constantly looking for the better thing, the better thing, and then you start just buying everything or whatever. You always, because there's people out there who, you know, how many tanks and drippers and the likes that China bring out. There's dozens a week, but probably not dozens, but there's certainly hundreds and hundreds a year. And some people, they buy one a week, they buy one every couple of days. You see people hand checking new stuff all of the time. And I think that you might be onto something there. That it's when you stop having that loyalty and you start the hunt for the premium vape, that maybe cross over into that might I say that more hobbyist side of vaping rather than being just a.
I'll be honest with you. It's only been this last 12 months where I've started having more than one thing on the go at once. Because what I would do is I'd go, oh yeah, okay, I've got that tank, I've got it all set up. That's what I like. That would be my vape. That would be all day when I get home. That's what I vape. It'd be like, right, okay, and then everything else gets put to one side. That's what I'm on, and then I'll swap to something else. It's only I would say in the past, probably not even 12 months, 10 months, where I've started having more than one thing on the go at once, and will happily swap between a squonker and a tank and a mouth to lung. I was either one or the other. Do you know what I mean? I was either mouth to lung vape or I was direct lung. I didn't swap.
See, I'm the worst type of person to walk into a vape shop that's not mine, because I will spend 45 minutes deciding on a bottle of juice, right? I am everything I hate in a customer. But when it comes to buying something, the gear I've got, I will spend weeks choosing it, because I'm the sort of person that will buy something, use it until it's completely dead broken. I don't tend to buy something, oh, okay, I'm bored of this now, buy something else, bored of this now. But I've got 4 setups in my table. My entire collection is made up of probably 20 full setups, and that's over 3.5, 4 years of vaping. If something new comes out, I've managed to train myself to go, no, I won't buy that. Give it 2 weeks, see if I still want it in 2 weeks. And that's why I bought this Berserker, because it's been staring at me in the face in the shop for like 6 weeks now. And I thought, I really want that. Or, oh, sod it, I'll just buy it. And I mean, the price drop did help.
Yeah.
I mean, I picked it up for 15 quid. No, 15 quid. 15 quid. Yeah. So, and that's why I'm the worst type, because I will spend so long choosing over any. I mean, I bought a new rucksack the other day. 3 days on Amazon comparing products. But then that way, I don't know whether it's me just being tight or me making sure I want to get something that's going to last me forever. My last rucksack before that, 6 years of touring. So,
yeah.
I've never had a mud that's let me down.
I think that's part of the fun. Especially with vape gear, something new comes out. I'm not an early adopter. I'm not one for lists and that sort of thing. I'm happy to wait, and I'm happy to buy it when it's either second hand or reduced in price or whatever it is. I'm happy.
If it's good now, it's good in 6 months.
Yeah. So for me, part of the fun, and not just with vape gear, like you say, with other things, is household appliances even. Is I will troll the internet and I will watch videos, watch reviews with vape gear, not necessarily washing machines, but with vape gear. And I find that
of a washing machine. It was which magazine? You used to have a. You're the sort of person that has a subscription to which magazine, or used to have.
No, paper is dead. Paper is dead, dude.
I remember my dad used to. My dad always used, which magazine, and it would be like, okay, we need a new washing machine. Which one is the best one, the best value? Which one's the most economical?
I like that. I like that kind of thing, and I think that's another thing with people who, like Kaz is saying, he looked long and hard at that, and he waited a long time, and I bet he will. And I don't know you at all, Kaz, but I bet you will nail the build. I bet you will. You'll spend time to get the actual the vape spot on. You won't just go, right, I've put a coil in here and nah, that's not getting what I want. Therefore, I will just move on and put it to one side. When you spend
the build is the most important thing.
Buying something, you then spend that time nailing the build, making sure you get it spot on, and everything is exactly how you want it. There's so many people who just.
I mean, there's one RDA that I could not get on with, which was the Wismec Neutron RDA, right? I must have put 50 builds in that sodding thing, and not one of them fucking worked. But you're right. I don't buy a product and go, well, I put the first build that I put in everything in it, it doesn't work. No, you got to try it again. You got to try it again. Yeah. And like I said, I'm just going to use the Berserker as an example. I know for a fact that little 26 gauge build works in small mouth to lungs. It worked in my Bellus tank. It worked in all sorts of things, and that is my low wattage build to go to. try that. If that doesn't work, you just try something else. It's like you were saying, you know, you spend time looking at things and finding things out and finding all the information and the problems. I mean, I'm just about to buy an iPhone XS Max, and there's loads of shit coming out about how if you plug it in, it doesn't charge. So I'm going to be looking at
it's Apple. Why?
So basically, the issue is that when you plug an iPhone in, right? Shut up. When you plug an iPhone in, it's supposed to light up and start charging. Now, if the iPhone is asleep, it won't start charging until you wake it up. Oh. However, if you don't wake it up before you plug it in, you won't be able to wake it up.
Oh, it won't let you.
That's a minor software. I don't fix that.
I don't. I make no bones about it. I'm not Apple's biggest fan. The one thing that really and completely and totally irritates the hell out of me is you can't charge any Apple product without it being on. I'm like, why? I've turned my phone off. I don't want anybody to bother me. I've turned my phone off. I don't want any calls. I don't need it. Plug it in. It charges while it's off.
Yeah, but if you're an iPhone owner, you never need to have your phone off.
Right. I have been an Apple... Let me rephrase that. I was an Apple evangelist up until recently. And every iPhone, and I mean from the very first 2G model that they released, I've had every single model up until the 7 Plus was when I stopped. Right, I've never had a problem with charging, whether it was on, off, or indifferent. If it was off, I never noticed that you couldn't charge it. But either way,
if it's off, and you plug an Apple device in, it turns on.
See, that doesn't bother me at all because it's also my alarm clock. You know, it needs to be on to be an alarm clock.
No, it doesn't.
It's never been an issue that's bothered me.
Android phones, you turn it off. When it comes to the alarm time, it goes off anyway.
It hasn't been turned off in 15 years.
All right, so, but the point I'm trying to make is I will find out every single issue with a product before I buy it. I am a horrible person to sell to because I just be like, nah.
Right, a question for you all and also a question for chat. I'm pointing at different areas of the screen here. So, from your vaping career, however long it would be, okay, there must be, and remember, go back to the very, very beginning of your vaping career. There must be one product that I won't say that has been your favourite product, but the product that you have used the most and spent the most on, i.e. coils, everything else. Now mine is between two products. The first one being the iClear 30. The second being the Kanga Aero Tank. Those two products for me have spent more time in my hands, have had more money spent on them, putting juice through them, buying coils, replacing in the iClear days. Probably say spent the most money on the Aero Tank is probably where I'm at. For you guys, what product have you spent the most on and used the most on? I'm not saying you have to use it now still, but through your entire career. Cheers, Steve. Cheers, Keith. Thank you very much for joining us. Like you said, smash that thumbs up button. Sorry, Cass.
I'm gonna say a combination of the Troll V1 RDA and the Sigeli 100-watt mod. And that's it. And I must have put 5 litres of juice through. That's the one. 5 litres of still works?
Probably. I've not put a battery in 2 years.
Yeah, right. So I've had 4 of them over the time. A, so I had spares, and B, I think one lasted 2 years, and the day it died, I bought another one. Because what starts to happen is they stop being able to read ohms properly. I think it's something to do with the chipset. But I must have put 5 litres of juice through that Troll RDA. I disintegrated 4 chuff caps on that thing, and it must have had 2,000 builds in it.
Wow. Well, we've got Stu in chat saying Mini Pro Tank 2 again, relatively old. The Nautilus Mini.
100% good tank.
I never got on to the Nautilus until recently. I was always the Aero Tank. Now, we used to stock the Nautiluses, and I don't know where it is. Lindsay found it down the side of the sofa the other day, but I got a full-size Nautilus. Found it in a returns cupboard at work, and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna get on this. And I really enjoyed it. But back in the day, I didn't like the Nautilus. I was a Kanga man. I loved the Aero Tank over the Nautilus. I think it was the styling over the function. I hated that it was so big and bulbous, whereas the Aero Tank was nice, long, straight. It did the job.
Do you remember the cage tank they used to do for those?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think something that I've spent the most on would be buying accessories and shit. Would be the Tayfun GT, because I bought extra decks, different glass, bell caps. I did the same for a Tayfun. K-Fun V4. I actually put some effort into getting a K-Fun V4 to actually work. Yeah.
I didn't have the patience for that.
No, I kept going. Look, it's a K-Fun. It's got to be good. And bought bell cap and the glass, because you could replace the glass instead of the stainless section, and different, and bought loads of bits. I never got it so it didn't piss due. Every now and again I would get a perfect build, and it would be absolutely beautiful for about 3 or 4 tankfuls until I needed to re-wick or rebuild it, and then it just pissed juice. It was never the same again. It was like, but yeah. So Tayfun GT, which I just bought every accessory I could find for it, and
James.
that K-Fun.
For me, it's what I'm using now. It is the Hellfire Viper V2. I've got 3. I use them every day. I'd like to say they're in rotation, but because I always have a couple of juices on the go, and then I use them every single day. I vape a lot. For a mouth-to-lung vapor, I vape a lot. I don't know how many litres and litres and litres of juice that's been through them. They need minimal upkeep. I've changed the out O-ring. I've changed many times. I've got a pack of 100 there, and I'm certainly took a chunk out of that because they swell occasionally, and it makes the top cap really tight. Apart from that, zero upkeep. The work, the consistently work. I haven't changed it. I'll touch wood here, but I haven't changed a single capture screw. I've got a couple of spares. You don't get a lot of spares with Hellfire stuff. And I use them consistently. I started squonking about 2 years ago, something like that, and I bought a Origin Mini, Origin Tiny, which was a 16mm tank. I knew when I first started squonking that I wanted small tanks. I'd dipped my foot in years ago into squonking with a bigger tank, and a 22mm just it isn't my cup of tea. It's not where I prefer to vape on. So I bought an Origin tiny tank, and then I had that a few weeks, and then I bought a Viper, and the Viper I loved, so I sold the Origin and I bought another Viper. I've had a couple of V1s. I've moved them on. I've stuck with the V2. I've had a couple of X's, stuck with one of them, and I've moved another one of them on. They just work and work and work and work. The flavour, I think I adore the flavour. I adore the look. And I use them all the time. I rebuild them 2 or 3 times a week because I like a nice fresh coil. Like I say, I vape quite a lot of juice through them. And the likes of Tobacco Crunch is a bit of a coil killer, to be honest with you. And
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of hours. It's probably 40% of the vaping time, the entire vaping time, because I found something I loved and I've stuck with it and I've bought multiples of them. And like I say, that they go and they go and they go, and all I've changed is a couple of O-rings, and as far as I can tell, they are for my style of vaping, they suit me down to the ground. And I use them every day, every single. So probably that. I've never kept anything anywhere near as long as a vape. I like to chop and change.
Is it still an available product, or is it something you could only get second hand?
Only get second hand. There was the run was about 2.5 years ago. Then they brought the X out about 18 months ago. They occasionally, if you wanted one, you could pop up one to buy, and you might be able to pick one up. You see them going for like 40 or 50 quid. It's you know, it's not a.
It's on my want list. Then it's something I have to try. Some of the comments in chat. The Provari.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Wow. Yeah. K Funlight, still have one 4 years later, still in weekly use. Nautilus Mini. We've got a question from Dav. I know you responded to this in chat, Cass. Question, people. I've been vaping ages, and for the past week I've had a tight chest. Used everything liquid for Nick. Anyone had any issues with their Nick? Now, we have quite a lot of people come into the shop and say about tight chestedness and coughing and everything else. A lot of people, I would find, is down to a PG allergy.
A lot of people.
But he's saying he's been vaping for ages, and it's only recently he's noticed this tight chest. I would suggest, much what you said, Cass, it's probably poor nicotine.
Oh, the amount of Nick shots I've had that I've dumped into a juice. I'm not a mixer, so I don't really mix my own. But I've had a juice, zero nicked it. Like, okay, cool, let's dump some juice in it. Shook it up, left it to breathe, and vape on it, and it's just like nails in my chest. Like, just bad Nick can ruin a juice.
Yeah, it can.
I'm assuming, Dav, you're saying that you're using 18 milligram shots as opposed to a 72 milligram that you've got stashed in the freezer.
The easiest way to sort that is if you're using your stuff out of the freezer, is go and buy a couple of Nick shots. So it's only going to cost you a couple of quid for a couple of Nick shots. Get a similar juice to what you've been using before. Try it with these Nick shots that you've got from a shop, and then you've kind of got a control then, because it's nicked up, not with your nicotine. If it cures it, it might be the nicotine in your freezer.
I heard an interesting fact the other day, and I don't know whether this is true. This is unsubstantiated, but someone said to me once, if you leave Nick in your freezer long enough, it'll do one of two things. It'll either lose 90% of its strength, or it'll triple in strength. And there's no way of finding out what one it's done. I don't know whether that's true or not, but it came from a fairly reliable source when it comes to mixing and nicotine and things. But if someone in the chat can go and do some Google foo for me and find out if that's true or not, because I'd be very interested to see if that sounds
a bit urban mythy to me, that one.
It does, which is why I said it's unsubstantiated. But
I've got Nick that I've forgotten to freeze. Nick that sat in the garage in the shed on a shelf, and you've gone in. It's as black as tar.
Amazing.
Which is quite clearly past it. But stuff I've taken out of the freezer, no, he's using 72 milligram.
Might have just gone off then.
It may have gone off, you know.
May have. I never ever froze my nicotine until TPD turned up, and then I bought like a ridiculous amount of nicotine and put it in the freezer.
I could still buy it, so it's not a major issue for me. But I've still got, how much nicotine have we got in the freezer outside? 10, 15 litres. And I don't mix at home anymore, so it's probably just going to sit there forever and a day. but the stuff I use at work is obviously frozen and
Oh, yeah.
kept cool.
Does anyone
Never had
notice
a
before
problem.
TPD, Dark Stars, I think it was £18 for a litre of Nick at one point. Might have been
Yeah.
more than that. Like 2 weeks before the TPD came in, they tripled their Nick price.
They didn't. Well, it was because what I've got in the freezer is.
I could have swore their price jumped up like 3 times.
Well, what I've got Dark Star. They actually offered before pre-TPD, they were selling freezer kits. So you could buy a liter. They would sell you a liter of nicotine in 4 250 bottles, or you could buy, and you could buy it specifically to stash away, and it wasn't expensive. I was paying more, albeit I was usually buying 250 milliliters of nicotine at a time, and it would last me 6 months before I needed another one. But yeah, they were selling it, and it was costing me a hell of a lot less to buy it, obviously in bulk, than it was for me to buy a 250 ml bottle.
I think at the moment for 20 litres, I think it's about 600 quid I pay.
You do
Wow.
you do buy quite a lot all at once, don't you?
Yeah, 100 ml's no good to me.
Yeah, I think I've got a feeling if I spent 600 quid on nicotine, that would do me. I would never need to buy nicotine ever again, and I would probably be bequeathing nicotine to my kids in my will.
Oh dear. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone over. We're 6 minutes over. What's that all about?
Well, we'll just
Unbelievable.
how late were we? Technically, are we
1
are we
minute.
still on?
We're
Was
a
that
minute
it?
over. And
Oh,
Lindsay's
shit.
starting to chew her arm off because we've not eaten yet tonight. She's nodding.
You've got to feed Tracy.
So, Tracy. Oh, Tracy, yeah. So, does the gold taste peppery through?
You missed you got to read the comment above it.
I put 1 kilo of gold in my freezer. It's now. What?
Oh, okay. Trying to
Anyway.
triple strength of something by freezing it.
Anyway,
Like it.
thank you very much for joining us. It's been an enjoyable show. It's been good to have James on. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
joining
James.
us.
Cheers. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. And I need to bring the YouTube page up. So,
And while you're doing that, I'm going to do a shameless plug. If you want to listen to a little bit more of James, he was on the podcast, which was released on Sunday. So yeah, have a download to the vaguely vaping related podcast. Search for it on your usual podcast places.
And subscribe to my channel.
You're putting them off there. You're putting them off. There's loads of other podcasts that don't include me. So what are the vaguely vaping related podcasts?
There's one that even includes Mark. So
There is.
So yeah.
there
There
is.
is.
That was a while back. And you've got to listen to the vaguely vaping related podcast just for James's Dalek impression.
Yes.
Go subscribe to my channel that's in the chat because I found a
There
way
you
to
go.
get around your link ban.
You're set up. Oh my god, you're an administrator, aren't you? You're set up. You can
No.
host.
Oh, he's not got a spanner. Ha ha! I've got a spanner.
We
Right.
need to give him. Hang on. Let's manage moderators.
I'm
Let's.
available every Thursday on the Ideal Home Show. It's on the YouTubes at 9 p.m. on a Thursday evening with John Martin, Rick Groves, Bradley Pinto, and the famous V1CK, Richard Vick.
Yes. Indeed.
There we go.
So plug in things.
So
Lovely.
there we go. If you want to try and post your link again, Cass, I've given you administrative rights. So yes,
work.
check out the VVRP. Check out This Is Cass. Definitely check out the Ideal Home Show on a Thursday evening, 9-ish. 9-ish.
Ish. Ish.
9-ish.
Ish.
A lot like us, 9-ish.
Yeah.
9-ish. And I'm still waiting for an invite onto the Ideal Home Show. One day I think it might happen. But I'm not going to hold my breath. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, James, for joining us. And we will see you next Tuesday. Adios, motherfuckers.
Bye-bye.